What's up, y'all? Welcome back to another video. Today we are running our jaws about none other than Killer Croc, a personal favorite character of mine. To be honest, he's actually my favorite DC character. Yeah, I know, that's insane. But you know what? Fight me about it. Okay, now that fight is over and I totally destroyed you, pause. Let's get to Croc. See, the reason I titled this video Misunderstood is because that's exactly what he is. Croc's real name is actually Waylon Jones, so off rip he's being sold by that name. Although, it's low-key opium, I ain't gonna lie to you. Even from birth, it's almost as if Twin was cursed. He didn't become a crocodile because an experiment or getting mutated. He was born like this. He was born with a skin disease. But he wasn't born a big scary killer. The problem with this condition is that it gets worse with time. So he can go from looking like this to this. It's slowly eating away at him, and he's mentioned before that it's painful too, which you can only imagine how bad it actually hurts. So he's basically cursed since birth with this skin disease that adds scales, sharpens his teeth, and overall just makes him way too big. And the tragic part is, this isn't the only bad thing to happen to him from birth. Waylon's dad abandoned him and his mom died giving birth to him. Brother, golly, free bro, this is nasty work. So Waylon ends up moving in with his aunt, not that he has much choice. And by this point, the disease is starting to take effect and he has scales and whatnot on him. This causes him to get bullied by everyone. But what's worse is he gets abused by his alcoholic aunt. Every day she scrapes the scales off him, or at least tries. I'm no genius, but isn't this just another version of skinning somebody? That's problematic in more ways than one. I'm not gonna lie. Waylon ends up meeting a girl that, unlike everyone else, is actually nice to him and treats him like a person. And you wanna know what happens to her? His one and only friend, a real-life crocodile, pulls up and murders her. Just like that. And he's there to witness it all. When the police show up and see a dead girl with crocodile markings on her, then see a crocodile boy, what do you think they think? That's right. They're out to put brother in handcuffs. So Mr. Jones ends up running away, and years later, by this time, he's a fully grown crocodile man, and he joins the circus and gets the name you all know and love, Killer Croc. After so much discrimination and whatnot, he realizes no one will treat him as human, so he joined the circus, seeming that is the only way to live. One day after a show, his boss pulls up and gives him his cut, except he gives him $40. And just so y'all know, Croc is out here wrestling real life alligators. Like, that's what he does, that's his whole gig. Their deal was for $100, so Waylon asks where the other $60 is, and the boss says he's not getting it. He simply responds with the fact that it's not like he's gonna be able to get a job anywhere else. And Croc responds by biting the boss's arm off. And I know, some of y'all might be thinking, that's OD. But I gotta say, that's real nigga activity. He's been going through nothing but hell his whole life, and he held it together this long. Me personally, can't say I would have had it in me to stay locked in that long. Matter of fact, let's give my goat a calm low edit real quick.
You will enjoy feasting on your bones.
After this, Croc understands it's not safe, so he does the dash to none other than Gotham, where he lives his days in the sewers, almost like a myth in Gotham, of a monster in the sewers. And because people have called him and treated him like a monster his whole life, he decides to become one, eating people for food, and robbing stores and whatnot to make a living and to survive. He fully commits to a life of crime. And you know, things don't turn out terribly for Croc. He ends up finding a group of homeless people in the sewer that actually treat him like a person. They are gang to Croc. He even ends up stealing for them too. But all things take a turn when Batman pulls up. He of course beats Croc, and young money Croc falls into the classic Batman cycle of Arkham Asylum and escaping. The thing that's really tragic about this though is almost all Batman villains have a few screws loose, but Croc doesn't. He really shouldn't be in an asylum, but that's where they put him nonetheless. I'd also like to bring up some of the things Croc has done that really show you he's not as bad as originally thought to be. For one, there's a story where he escapes Arkham Asylum by eating his hands off to get rid of the chains like a real G. That's so opium, not gonna lie. But he ends up getting taken in by this couple who actually treats him fair. And the man in the relationship decides he can roll with the best of them. With Croc's help, he can take over the mob. And they actually do. And things are actually going very smooth for a hot minute. Croc has a new life and he enjoys it. The couple really likes Croc too. They even go as far as to call him family. But the wife has other plans. She decides to go behind both their backs and work with this other dude to kill her husband and Waylon for a bag. She literally has more money than you could possibly dream of, and she's throwing it away. So, like the op she is, she tells the man she's working with to hit her. And when Croc gets home, he sees the bruise on her, and he gets really upset. She decides to tell Croc that out of everyone, her husband did it. And in a fit of rage, Waylon goes to the husband and murks him. 0 words. I feel like this shows the pain Waylon's gone through his whole life. I feel like he would have heard bro out, but because his trust issues, he simply couldn't. Right after this, old boy that's working with the wife lets out a buckshot straight in Waylon's chest bone. But Waylon doesn't die from this, and he's what we call a business standard. So he kills bro by throwing a safe door at his head, taking it clean off. Yeah. All that is left is the wife, to which Waylon does what he does best. The next day, Batman shows up and sees this mess, and he sees Croc still there on his knees, covered in blood in this fire shot. I mean, look at this baller pose, bruh. And he says some of the hardest but saddest words possible. They're the monsters, not me. Put me back. He tried to live his normal life, but once again, he couldn't have that. There was also the time Croc stopped Roy Harper from ending his own life. See, the two of them were boxing, and Roy was getting washed, like badly. But he wouldn't stay down. And Croc, just as confused as us, asks why he won't stay down. And Roy explains his life is terrible. His heroin addiction caused him to get kicked out of Team Arrow. He ended up having extreme depression and certain thoughts of hurting himself. I don't want to get into for YouTube's sake. But Waylon stops the fight and tells Roy to stop being stupid. Roy only wanted to keep the fight going so Croc would kill him. But he tells Roy to stop being stupid and get over himself. He refuses to kill Roy, saving his life. Croc even admits too, he wants to kill him, but he won't. I mean, if that ain't a business standard, bro, I really don't know what is. And this is insane. He can still lock in and show his humanity even after everything he's been through. And there was also a time, might I add, where Swamp Thing broke Croc out of Arkham Asylum and brought him to nature, telling him the beast has fully taken over and he belongs in nature. Basically telling him he's just not a human, which is disgusting work. And the most heartbreaking part about all this, Croc actually agrees. He wants to be in nature at this point. But once again, just like one of those crusty little gnats that flies in that one spot next to your ear so you can hear it buzz a little but can't stop it, Batman shows up and demands Croc back to Arkham Asylum. Mr. Croc even eventually got forced into none other than the Suicide Squad. After all this, even when he was free, he still had a hard time living a normal life. He moved to Monster Town, which is, what it sounds like, a city with, monsters. A lot of socially acceptable people were there, you could say. Croc finds it hard to adjust from a life of crime, but he does his best, even trying to get multiple jobs. But I guess a crocodile man isn't very ideal for work. The real question here is, will Croc ever actually find true peace? Let's hope. But with all that being said, that's gonna conclude our time for today. Was that cool? That's like, I felt like I was like in one of those rocking chairs with a big book, reading like a story to you. That felt kind of cool. I felt fire. Was that fire? I'm gonna leave my Discord server in the comments in the descriptions. Check it out if you're locked in like that. And hopefully, one day, our dear Croc will get out of this hell he lives in. See y'all, man. Peace.